Greenland, known to its people as Kalalit Nunat, rests at the quiet edge of the Arctic, where ice and sky meet in long, unbroken lines. Here, the land feels ancient and patient, shaped over millennia by wind, water, and slow-moving glaciers. The scale of the landscape immediately softens the mind, inviting stillness rather than urgency. Along the western coast, towns like Ilulissat sit beside vast ice-filled waters where towering icebergs drift silently through the sea. These frozen forms are not hurried, and neither is life around them. Time feels less measured by clocks and more by light, weather, and the gentle rhythm of the natural world. Further inland, the immense ice sheet stretches beyond the horizon, a quiet white presence that reflects both sunlight and starlight. At night, the sky often glows with soft green and violet ribbons as the aurora moves slowly overhead. Even this celestial display feels calm here, unfolding without spectacle, as though meant only for those who are willing to wait. Life in Greenland is closely tied to the land and sea. Fishing boats move steadily through icy waters, sled dogs rest between journeys, and homes glow warmly against the cold. There is comfort in this balance, where survival and simplicity exist side by side, shaped by generations of knowledge and respect for nature. This journey begins not with motion, but with stillness. Greenland is not asked to be rushed or conquered, only observed and quietly understood. And as the story unfolds, the land offers something rare, a sense of calm found not by escaping the world, but by settling gently into it. Welcome to Bedtime Travel Stories, where soothing tales and gentle narrations take you on a tranquil journey through the world's most enchanting places, right from the comfort of your bed. Unwind and travel with us as we explore the globe one story at a time, helping you relax and drift into a peaceful sleep. Greenland's fjords are not pathways carved for speed, but long, quiet inlets shaped by patience. They curve gently inland, holding water that feels heavy with reflection and memory. The land here does not announce itself loudly, instead offering a steady presence that invites calm attention. These fjords were formed over countless generations by glaciers moving at an almost imperceptible pace. Ice pressed forward year after year, carving deep corridors through solid rock without urgency or force. Even now, the shapes left behind feel softened, as though time itself preferred rounded edges and gradual transitions. Along the western coast, the waters near Ilulissat Ice Fjord carry vast fragments of ice toward the open sea. Each iceberg drifts with quiet dignity, turning slowly as currents guide it forward. Their surfaces glow faintly in shades of blue, ivory, and pale grey, colours shaped by compressed snow and ancient air. The water beneath these ice forms moves with remarkable restraint. Ripples spread gently, rarely breaking the surface into sharp motion, as though the fjord itself is careful not to disturb what floats above it. Reflections linger longer here, blurring the boundary between sky and sea. Rising on either side, the cliffs stand dark and weathered, marked by long streaks where ice once pressed and retreated. Snow gathers in shallow folds along ledges and slopes, softening the rock and dulling its angles. The landscape feels layered rather than abrupt, shaped by repetition rather than drama. Sound behaves differently within the fjords. Wind is muffled by stone and distance, and even moving water seems quieter than expected. Silence here is not empty, but full, dense with space and depth, encouraging the mind to slow its own rhythm. As daylight begins to fade, the fjords hold on to the sky's colour longer than the open sea. Pale gold slips gradually into muted blue and then into gentle grey, each transition unfolding without urgency. The water reflects this shift faithfully, turning the entire scene into a slow, steady breathing of light. Travel through these waters feels ceremonial rather than practical. Boats glide forward without wake or hurry, respecting the stillness rather than breaking it. Movement becomes secondary to observation, and time loosens its grip. In Greenland's fjords, nothing asks to be completed or conquered. The landscape teaches patience by example, showing how immense change can occur through quiet persistence. Here, stillness becomes a language of its own, spoken fluently by ice, water, and stone. Beyond the fjords, Greenland opens into a vast interior that feels almost without boundary. The land rises gently and then disappears beneath an immense cover of ice, stretching farther than the eye can follow. This is not a landscape that invites comparison, because its scale exists beyond ordinary measure. The ice sheet has formed slowly over tens of thousands of years, layer upon layer settling into quiet permanence. Snow falls, compresses, and becomes ice, holding traces of ancient air and distant seasons within its depths. Time here is stored rather than spent, resting patiently beneath the surface. Standing near the edge of the ice, the world feels simplified. Colours fade into whites, pale blues and faint greys, with only subtle variations revealing changes in light and shadow. The absence of detail draws attention inward, encouraging a calmer, more focused awareness. The silence of the ice sheet is unlike any other. Sound seems to vanish into the open space, leaving only the soft presence of wind or the distant, almost imagined creak of ice shifting far below. Even these sounds feel restrained, as if they too respect the stillness. The surface of the ice is rarely smooth. Gentle ridges, shallow hollows, and faint lines trace the movement of snow and wind over time. These small textures give the ice a quiet character, revealing motion that occurs so slowly it can only be sensed, not seen. Light behaves differently here, spreading evenly across the frozen expanse. Without trees or cliffs to interrupt it, daylight lingers and softens, creating long transitions rather than sudden changes. Shadows stretch and fade gradually, dissolving without urgency. In some places, meltwater forms narrow streams that cut across the ice before disappearing into hidden channels below. These brief movements remind the observer that the ice is not static, but alive with slow transformation. Change exists here, but it unfolds on a scale that encourages patience. To travel near the ice sheet is to experience a rare kind of humility. Human presence feels temporary and light, barely touching the surface of something profoundly enduring. The ice does not resist or welcome, it simply remains. The great ice sheet offers no spectacle in the usual sense. Its power lies in its quiet consistency and its refusal to hurry. In this vast stillness, the mind begins to mirror the landscape, becoming spacious, steady, and untroubled. Light in Greenland follows a rhythm unlike anywhere else, stretching time in one season and gently compressing it in another. During summer, daylight lingers far beyond expectation, circling the horizon without fully disappearing. The sun moves slowly, as if reluctant to leave, bathing the land in a continuous softened glow. This long light changes the way the landscape feels. Colours deepen gradually rather than shifting quickly, and shadows remain long and delicate. Even familiar places appear newly shaped when seen under hours of steady illumination that never quite fades. As days extend, the land seems to rest within the light rather than react to it. Snow, stone and water absorb brightness evenly, creating calm transitions instead of contrast. The world feels suspended in a gentle pause where urgency dissolves into quiet observation. When winter arrives, the balance shifts just as completely. Darkness settles in not as an absence, but as a presence with its own texture and depth. Night stretches across weeks, creating a soft, enveloping calm that reshapes daily life. In this extended darkness, small sources of light become meaningful. A window glowing warmly against the snow, a lantern reflecting off ice, or stars scattered across a vast sky all feel amplified. Each light feels intentional, offering comfort rather than spectacle. The long night invites inward reflection. Without frequent daylight, attention turns toward routine, memory, and rest. Time is no longer measured by the sun's rise and fall, but by meals, conversations, and the steady rhythm of sleep. The sky often responds generously during these dark months. Soft curtains of aurora drift overhead, moving slowly and without sound. Their colours unfold patiently, echoing the land's preference for unhurried beauty. Neither the long light nor the long night feels extreme once accepted. Both ask for adaptation rather than resistance, encouraging a deeper awareness of natural cycles. Life adjusts quietly, aligning itself with the sky instead of trying to command it. In Greenland, light is not merely illumination. It becomes a guide for pace, mood, and rest, shaping how each season is experienced. By following its rhythm, the land teaches the art of slowing down and paying attention. Greenland's towns and settlements appear gently rather than abruptly, often revealed only after long stretches of open land or water. Small clusters of homes rest close to the coast, positioned carefully between rock, ice, and sea. Their placement feels intentional, shaped by generations who learned exactly where the land offers shelter and access. In places like Ilulissat and Nuuk, daily life unfolds at a pace set more by weather and light than by schedules. Homes are modest and practical, yet often painted in soft or cheerful colours that stand out against snow and stone. These colours bring warmth to the landscape, offering visual comfort during long winters and muted seasons. The sea remains central to life here. Fishing boats move steadily in and out of harbours, their routines shaped by tides and ice rather than urgency. Even when activity increases, there is little sense of rush, only steady purpose and familiarity. Inside the towns, life feels quietly communal. Neighbours know one another, paths are well worn, and shared spaces are used thoughtfully. Conversations tend to linger, shaped by an understanding that time is not something to be chased. Winter deepens this closeness. As darkness stretches longer, homes become places of warmth and gathering, where light glows softly through windows against the snow. The contrast between interior comfort and the vast cold outside creates a feeling of refuge rather than isolation. Food plays a grounding role in daily rhythm. Meals are often simple and nourishing, shaped by what the land and sea provide. Eating becomes a pause in the day, a moment to rest and reconnect before stepping back into the quiet landscape. Children grow up with a close relationship to nature, learning early how to read weather, ice, and light. The environment is not treated as something separate from life, but as an active participant in it. This familiarity fosters confidence and calm rather than fear. Even modern elements, when present, feel softened by the surrounding scale. Roads remain short, buildings low, and development restrained. The land always holds the final say, reminding life here to remain adaptable and respectful. In Greenland settlements, simplicity is not a limitation, but a choice shaped by experience. Life unfolds gently along the edge of ice and sea, balanced between resilience and rest. It is a way of living that mirrors the landscape itself, steady, patient, and quietly enduring. The animals of Greenland move through the landscape with an ease that comes from long familiarity. They do not dominate the land or retreat from it, but exist in careful balance, shaped by the same rhythms of light, cold, and silence. Their presence is often subtle, revealed through tracks in snow, distant movement, or a sudden stillness in the air. Along the coasts and fjords, marine life follows ancient routes beneath the ice-dark water. Seals surface quietly between drifting floes, while whales pass slowly through deep channels, their journeys guided by memory rather than sight. These movements feel purposeful and unhurried, unfolding far below the surface where time moves differently. On land, larger animals traverse vast distances with calm determination. They move steadily across snow and tundra, conserving energy and choosing each step carefully. Their paths are not straight, but shaped by wind, terrain, and instinct refined over generations. Birdlife brings brief moments of motion to the sky during warmer months. Birds arrive with the returning light, filling cliffs and shorelines with soft calls and fluttering wings. Their presence marks a gentle shift in season, a reminder that change in Greenland often arrives quietly rather than dramatically. During winter, animal life becomes less visible, but no less active. Beneath the snow and ice, life continues with careful efficiency, adapting rather than resisting. Survival here is not about force, but about patience, timing, and awareness. Predators and prey coexist in patterns shaped by necessity rather than conflict. Encounters are rare and purposeful, governed by instinct rather than aggression. Even moments of tension feel restrained, part of a larger balance that has endured for centuries. The relationship between animals and the land feels deeply respectful. No movement appears wasted, and no energy is spent without reason. Every gesture seems considered, shaped by the understanding that resources are precious and conditions can change quickly. For those who pause long enough, the presence of animals adds another layer of quiet to the landscape. A distant shape on the horizon or a brief ripple in the water becomes meaningful without needing explanation. Observation replaces expectation, allowing moments to unfold naturally. In Greenland, animals are not spectacles to be chased or collected as memories. They are quiet companions of the land, moving within its rhythms rather than against them. By watching them, the landscape itself becomes easier to understand. Greenland's history is not written loudly across the land, but carried quietly through stories, memory, and practice. Knowledge here has long been passed from one generation to the next through observation, repetition, and shared experience. The landscape itself becomes a living archive, holding lessons that do not require words. Among the Inuit of Kalaallit Nunaat, storytelling has always been a way of understanding both the visible and unseen world. Stories explain weather, animals, and human behaviour, weaving practical guidance with imagination and meaning. These narratives do not seek to dominate nature, but to describe how to live alongside it. Oral traditions reflect a deep respect for balance and awareness. Characters in these stories often listen carefully, move patiently, and learn through quiet attention rather than force. The values they carry mirror the demands of the land itself, where haste can lead to danger and patience offers safety. Seasonal rhythms shape cultural memory as much as they shape daily life. The return of light, the settling of darkness, and the shifting of ice are all marked not only by observation, but by shared understanding. Over time, these cycles become familiar companions rather than obstacles. Tools, clothing, and shelter also carry stories within them. Each design reflects generations of refinement, shaped by what works and what endures. Nothing feels accidental because necessity has guided every choice toward efficiency and resilience. Music and rhythm find their place as well, often simple and grounded rather than ornate. Sound is used thoughtfully, echoing the land's preference for moderation and clarity. Even celebration remains closely tied to community rather than spectacle. Contact with the wider world has brought change, but it has not erased these foundations. Traditions adapt quietly, absorbing what is useful while holding on to what matters. The past remains present, not as nostalgia, but as guidance. There is a humility embedded in Greenland's cultural memory. Survival has always depended on cooperation, attentiveness, and restraint rather than conquest. These values persist, offering a steady framework for life in an unpredictable environment. In Greenland, stories do not belong to the past alone. They continue to move through the air, shaped by wind, weather, and shared experience. By listening to them, the land itself becomes easier to understand. Movement across Greenland is shaped as much by patience as by geography. Roads are few, often ending quickly where land gives way to water, ice, or rock. Travel here does not follow straight lines, but adapts carefully to the contours and limits of the landscape. Boats become natural extensions of the coast, slipping quietly through fjords and along sheltered waters. Journeys unfold slowly, guided by weather, ice conditions and light rather than strict timetables. The act of travelling feels less like transit and more like observation in motion. In winter, sleds glide across snow-covered ground with remarkable smoothness. Pulled steadily by dogs, these journeys move at a rhythm that feels deeply connected to breath and terrain. Each mile is earned calmly, without hurry or resistance. Air travel bridges longer distances, yet even flights feel subdued against the vastness below. From above, towns appear small and deliberate, scattered lightly along the edge of land and sea. The immensity of ice and mountain dwarfs everything else, reminding travellers of their scale within the whole. Weather remains the final authority in all movement. Plans bend easily to wind, snow, and visibility, because inflexibility has little place here. Delays are not frustrations, but accepted pauses that allow the land to decide when travel is possible. This acceptance reshapes expectations. Time spent waiting becomes part of the journey rather than an interruption. Stillness, conversation, and quiet reflection fill the spaces where schedules might otherwise demand action. Distances that appear short on a map often feel expansive in experience. Each journey carries its own mood, shaped by light, sound, and silence. Arrival matters less than the gradual unfolding of the path itself. Travelling through Greenland encourages attentiveness rather than efficiency. The landscape rewards those who move slowly enough to notice subtle changes in colour, sound, and texture. Motion becomes a gentle partnership with the land rather than an effort to overcome it. In these quiet distances, travel becomes a form of rest. The journey itself offers calm, teaching that movement does not always require urgency. By following the land's pace, even long distances feel softened and manageable. Sheltering Greenland is not only about protection from cold, but about creating a sense of calm within a vast and demanding landscape. Homes are designed to hold warmth efficiently, gathering heat and light into spaces that feel reassuring and contained. Stepping inside often brings an immediate softness, a gentle contrast to the openness outside. The interiors feel purposeful yet comforting. Windows frame the landscape rather than compete with it, allowing light to enter without letting the cold dominate. Wood, fabric and simple furnishings absorb sound, creating an atmosphere where silence feels welcoming rather than empty. Warmth here is layered rather than excessive. Heat builds gradually from stoves, lamps and shared presence, spreading evenly through rooms. This steady warmth encourages lingering, conversation and rest, making stillness feel natural. Food plays an important role in creating comfort. Meals are hearty and grounding, designed to sustain both body and spirit. Eating becomes a ritual of warmth, a pause where the outside world recedes and attention turns inward. Hot drinks often mark the rhythm of the day. Steam rising from a cup mirrors the slow movement of clouds and breath in cold air. These small moments of warmth become anchors, offering consistency in an environment shaped by change. Rest is treated with respect rather than indulgence. Sleep follows the patterns of light and darkness, adjusting gently with the seasons. Quiet evenings invite reflection instead of distraction, allowing the mind to settle as naturally as the body. Gathering spaces hold a particular importance. Whether shared with family or a small community, these moments of togetherness provide balance against the vast solitude of the land. Conversation flows easily, unhurried and attentive. Outside, the Arctic world continues unchanged. Wind moves across ice and snow, and darkness or light stretches onward. Inside, warmth creates a boundary that feels safe without feeling closed. In Greenland, comfort is not about abundance, but about intention. Warmth, rest, and shelter are offered thoughtfully, creating a rhythm that supports resilience and peace. These moments of quiet comfort allow life to unfold steadily, even at the edge of the Arctic world. As the journey through Greenland draws toward its end, the landscape begins to feel less like a destination and more like a presence that remains. Ice, sky, and stone continue their slow conversation, unchanged by arrival or departure. The land does not ask to be remembered loudly, only carried quietly. What lingers most is not a single place, but a way of moving through the world. Greenland teaches that scale can be humbling without being overwhelming, and that stillness can be full rather than empty. The vastness does not diminish the individual. It simply places life in a wider context. Moments here are rarely dramatic, yet they settle deeply. A horizon that refuses to hurry, a light that fades without urgency, and a silence that feels complete all leave their mark. These impressions remain long after specific details begin to soften. The balance between resilience and gentleness becomes clear in retrospect. Life in Greenland is shaped by acceptance rather than resistance, by adaptation rather than control. This approach echoes through the land, its people, and the quiet rhythms of daily life. Even memory behaves differently after time spent here. Thoughts slow, expectations loosen, and the need for constant motion fades. the mind begins to mirror the landscape, wide and patient, comfortable with pauses. As departure approaches, there is no sense of conclusion imposed by the land itself. Greenland does not signal endings clearly because its cycles continue without interruption. Leaving feels less like closing a chapter and more like stepping away carefully. The silence remains intact after one departs. Ice continues to drift, light continues to shift, and towns continue their steady routines along the edge of sea and stone. Nothing is disrupted by absence. What is taken instead is a quieter rhythm, a reminder that rest can be purposeful, that patience can be powerful, and that simplicity often carries the greatest depth. These lessons do not fade easily. Greenland offers no final statement, only an invitation to slow down wherever one may go next. In carrying its stillness forward, the journey continues gently, long after the land itself has slipped beyond the horizon. As the journey settles, Greenland grows quieter rather than more distant. The land does not recede abruptly, but softens at the edges, like light fading gently at the end of a long day. Ice, water and sky continue their slow exchange, unchanged by attention or absence. What remains strongest is the rhythm Greenland teaches without instruction. Days shaped by light rather than urgency, movement guided by patience rather than speed, and rest treated as a necessary part of life rather than a reward. These lessons linger quietly long after specific images begin to blur. The vastness that once felt imposing now feels reassuring. Wide spaces offer room for thought, silence offers space for breath, and stillness becomes something to lean into rather than avoid. Greenland shows that calm does not come from reducing the world, but from meeting it gently. Memories here tend to arrive slowly. A softened horizon, the glow of a window against snow, the steady drift of ice through dark water all return without effort. They do not demand attention, but wait patiently to be noticed. Even departure feels unhurried. There is no sharp farewell, no clear boundary between staying and leaving. Greenland allows the moment to stretch, trusting that what is meant to remain will do so naturally. The land continues on its own terms. Fjords hold their reflections, towns keep their quiet routines, and the ice sheet rests in vast silence. Nothing needs to be concluded for balance to be maintained. What travels onward is a gentler pace of mind, a reminder that not every moment must be filled and not every silence explained. In carrying this calm forward, the journey extends beyond geography. As rest approaches, Greenland's presence becomes less visual and more felt. Breath slows, thoughts loosen, and the body follows the land's example, settling without resistance. Sleep arrives not as an ending, but as a continuation of stillness. Good night, Greenland. May your quiet linger softly, like distant light on ice, easing the world into rest. We hope you enjoyed today's serene journey and found peace in our gentle narration. Do join us next time as we make a relaxing visit to another of the world's most iconic places. Sweet dreams and safe travels until we meet again.